Former spokesman for the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, retired colonel, military expert Vladislav Seleznev, commented on the new attack on Russian facilities in the Black Sea and the Crimean Bridge. We don't yet know the exact level of damage on the Crimean Bridge because the explosion occurred underwater. Damage is not visible on the surface of the water. It is difficult to say what exactly was damaged underwater. I think the Russians are currently conducting an expert assessment, but they are unlikely to share this data with the general public, he emphasized in an interview with Glavred. The expert says that one of the supports of the automobile part of the Crimean Bridge is probably damaged, but the railway connection apparently was not seriously damaged, so the bridge's capacity has not decreased. It can be assumed that this was a trial run, most likely with the use of an underwater unmanned strike system. I think that in the future, such systems will be used to continue to destroy critically important elements for the functioning of the bridge. In particular, we are talking about the key supports on which the arch of the Kerch Bridge rests, under which all ships heading to the waters of the Sea of Azov and in the opposite direction pass. If these supports are seriously damaged, there will no longer be talk of the usual mode of movement. Transport communication will either be completely stopped or permanently limited, he is sure. The interlocutor clarifies that the defense forces are actively working on implementing this very task. In the case of this operation, the SBU is involved, but undoubtedly a number of other structures were also involved. The Navy, possibly the air component, since explosions were recorded at military airfields in occupied Crimea before the attack. This could have been aimed at reducing the activity of Russian aviation. And of course, devices such as Sea Baby and Magura V5 also participated and covered the operation from the surface of the water. Seleznev added, "It is noted that a gas production platform in the Black Sea, near temporarily occupied Crimea, was on fire. The facility had been used by Russian forces for military purposes." The Crimean Wind Monitoring Group said that a naval engagement occurred in the area. However, details regarding the forces and assets involved remain unknown. Russia has been using gas production platforms in the Black Sea for military purposes. These platforms are used to deploy troops, install small radar systems for monitoring air and surface activity, signal relays for drones, and reconnaissance equipment to track the movements of Ukrainian forces. It is worth noting that a previous strike on Russian-occupied gas platforms took place on May the 19th. During that operation, the Neva radar, storage facilities, and a residential unit were destroyed. The operation, carried out by the 13th Main Directorate of the Military Counterintelligence Department of the Security Service of Ukraine, was conducted using both naval and aerial drones. Within a single special operation, the SSU specialists used two types of drones, which demonstrated the effectiveness of working in tandem. We once again reminded the enemy that no Russian trash has a special place in the Black Sea, said the Security Service of Ukraine. Russia's exiled opposition is quietly talking to Ukrainian officials, Vladimir Kara-Murza told Politico. Kara-Murza, a former political prisoner who was released from a Siberian prison in a prisoner exchange last year, said there is a dialogue going on behind the scenes. He said the discussions with Ukrainian officials are not public. "We would like to take this to the highest level," he added, referring to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenski. Kara-Murza spoke after addressing members of the European Parliament in Brussels. Another Russian opposition politician who took part in the discussions in Brussels, Ilya Yashin, said the EU could mediate between Russia's democratic movement and the Ukrainian government. "We want to start this dialogue with Ukraine," Yashin said, adding that Zelensky was open to talking to them. "We are not enemies of Ukraine, and we want to protect its independence," Yashin added. Splits between Ukrainians and the Russian opposition fall largely along the lines of responsibility towards the war. Many in Ukraine hold the Russian people responsible for Moscow's aggression, while dissidents have been trying to push that it is Putin's war, with average Russians as many victims as Ukrainians. Kara-Murza was embroiled in a scandal in April when, at a hearing at the French Senate, he claimed it is easier for non-Russian soldiers to kill Ukrainians because of the difference in culture and language. His comments that "we are the same, almost the same language, the same religion, centuries and centuries of common history" were met with anger from Ukrainians and those of former Soviet Union countries, accusing him of racism and imperialism.
Russia's defense ministry said that its air defense forces intercepted and destroyed 174 Ukrainian drones overnight on June 6. According to the ministry, the attacks were repelled in multiple regions, including Bryansk, Rostov, Saratov, Voronezh, Kaluga, Kursk, Oryol, Ryazan, Tula, Belgorod, Tambov, and the Moscow region, as well as in annexed Crimea. In the Tambov region, drones probably attacked the Progress plant in Michurinsk, writes Astra. This plant produces high-tech equipment for control systems of aviation and rocket technology, as well as a wide range of civil electronics. In the Tula region, 2 Ukrainian drones were destroyed, but 3 people were injured as a result of the attack, Governor Dmitry Milyev said. And in the Kaluga region, the wreckage of the drone fell on the road, damaging the car, says Governor Vladislav Seleznev. In the city of Engels in the Saratov region, drones struck an apartment complex, and residents were evacuated. By morning, the region's governor, Roman Busargin, announced that there was no longer any danger and that those evacuated would soon be allowed to return to their homes. No injuries were reported. Busargin also said that one of the city's industrial facilities caught fire during the attack, though he did not specify which. Ukrainian telegram channels claimed the target was the Kristall oil depot, operated by Russia's Federal Agency for State Reserves. The Engels 2 air base is located nearby. The city of Bryansk was also reportedly targeted. Telegram channels and local residents said explosions were heard near the airport, though it remains unclear what was hit or what damage occurred. Several Ukrainian drones were also headed toward Moscow. Mayor Sergei Sobyanin said 10 drones were shot down. There were no reports of casualties.